And welcome back to Politics Tonight. I'm WGN TV political analyst Paul Lisnick. I'm talking with two members of the City Council. Here in the newsroom is Alderman Ricardo Munoz of the 22nd Ward. Joining us also at WGN, Alderman Ameya Pawar of the 47th Ward. Alderman Munoz, I'm going to come to you for a few moments now with Alderman Pawar's understanding because you have pretty much, you are announcing, have announced, even though it's not no filing going on yet, but you wouldn't mind leaving the City Council and becoming the clerk of the Circuit Court of Cook County. Why?
No, we're taking a look at that run.
Okay.
That run is next March for the position of clerk of the Circuit Court of Cook County because the office is in dire need of reform, and everyone we've talked to has talked about the need to, bring the office into the 21st century and how to digitize it and make electronic filings possible. And the office itself can also be a platform as an agent of social change because it is the clerk to the nation's largest court system. And as such, it comes into contact with a lot of people. Sadly enough, the people that comes into contact are sometimes in trouble. I mean, it's the office that processes the foreclosures for the court system.
But let me ask you this, Rick. I mean, I've interviewed Dorothy Brown many times. She's the current clerk, and she's been in that office for quite a while. And she has, every time I interview her, is always talking to me about new programs, new e-filing efforts, an effort to move things strongly into the 21st century. And I guess my question is, how much of the lack of movement, as you're pointing out, is her fault and we need a new clerk, as opposed to the slowness of the system working and the assistance that any clerk needs to get budgets and things to happen?
As an alderman, we're held accountable for day-to-day activities. We have to pick up the garbage, trim the trees, make sure the fire hydrants are off, and make sure that the police are doing their job. That's day-to-day accountability. The incumbent clerk has been there since 2000. So that's well over 11 years. And to say that I'm still trying to do something is just, I think, is preposterous. What I believe in, I mean, today, if you go to file a document at federal court today, you can e-file it. You can file it electronically, and you can file it, if it's due at noon on a day, you can file it at 11:57 electronically and get a receipt. You cannot do that right now at the clerk's office, and for whatever reason, she's petitioning the Supreme Court for some permissions to do that kind of stuff. I don't know what all the details are, but the important thing here is the fact that this office is in dire need of reform, and that's why I'm taking a look at it to be able to run it effectively and run it as an office that can act as an agent of social change.
Just briefly, I mean, being on a city council, you impact the lives of constituents in so many different ways. Why the shift? I understand you're looking at the office that needs reform. Why the shift to that position?
No, and don't get me wrong. I love my job as a city councilman, as an alderman. I get to help people. I mean, we've built more new schools in my neighborhood than any other neighborhood in the city, with a brand new high school, a brand new YMCA, brand new police station, brand new library. This is all things that I'm really proud of, and it's really day to day I'm vested in my neighborhood. But here we have an opportunity to take the office that people go to when they have to go to the court system, and make it healthier, make it nicer, make it more softer. There's no reason why we can't take our sheer will and make it an office, make it an agent of social change that can help people going through foreclosures, help people going through divorces, help people going through the court system.
It does impact people's daily lives every day. By the way,
every day, and that's why this job gets me excited, because wanting to help people in a much larger scale is what this job is allowing me to do.
All right, we're going to go to break, but when do we expect a final decision from you on that?
Probably within the next 10 days.
All right, 10 days, all right, we'll check back. We'll be right back here, and we'll also visit with Alderman Munoz, but also, of course, with Alderman Pawar. You're watching Politics Tonight, only on CLTV. Welcome back to Politics Tonight. I'm Paul Lisnick. I'm visiting with two aldermen in the City Council. Here in the newsroom, Alderman Ricardo Munoz of the 22nd Ward, and let's visit with Alderman Ameya Pawar of the 47th Ward. Alderman Pawar, you are concerned, as a lot of aldermen are, about the way in which services may start getting delivered in a bigger way in this city, which is the use of a grid system. The mayor seems to support that. It ties into how 311 interacts. You've got some concerns. Share those.
Yeah, I mean, I'm completely behind a grid system. I think it makes sense. But I think what we also need to then understand is that the process changes. Currently, we have ward-based service delivery, and so that means that we are sort of the first line. And that if we go to grid, there's a significant cost savings there. we as aldermen lose individual control. But if we're going to go that way, what we need to do is fix 311 so that when we input a service request, when things are going into a central system, that there is a real way to make sure that the process gets carried out, that we're going to the departments and making sure that there's real quality control. I think Open 311 is one such way to get there, but I think what we really need is to get the public involved and make sure that there's accountability to 311, and I think there's some issues there and we've got to fix them.
Alderman Munoz, you know, one of the issues, of course, is that that this grid system will remove some control away from the individual alderman, and I know that's a concern. What happens when 311 isn't working, things aren't working in the grid system as they should, but you know who's going to get the phone calls? You are.
We are, and at the end of the day, we're the ones that are held responsible. That's why the concern is to making sure that there is a coordinator. In this case, we call them the ward superintendents, because during the snowstorms, during the windstorms, and with the problems with trees, during the power outages, during the all these different weather catastrophes, it's the ward superintendents that coordinate this kind of work in the wards. But then also day to day, I mean, picking up the garbage day to day, making sure that, you know, the mattresses get picked up, making sure that the specials get picked up.
So can it work, Rick? Can this system work?
It depends on the hybrid that they're trying to come up with. A pure grid system presents some challenges that I think are unworkable. But if they come up with a hybrid that allows for the grid system and the ward system to kind of work together, there's some possibility, but we still have to see the details.
All right, Alderman Pawar, I just want to get both of your take on, there's a new casino, Rivers is opened. I was at the opening, lovely new place, but there's also discussion of a casino coming to the city. Good thing, bad thing, now that there's one over in Des Plaines, do we need more? Will it help the city? What do you think?
Well, I mean, I wish Des Plaines the best. I hope the casino does well for Des Plaines, but, you know, there's no way I would ever vote for the casino here in Chicago.
Because moral issues, or?
I mean, I think what I've heard is there's $3 of social cost for every dollar that it generates. And I've said this before, you know, if a city is acting as a house, then I think it's a city that's betting against its own citizens, and in many cases the most vulnerable.
All right, Alderman Munoz, your thoughts?
I would disagree with the alderman. I think that casinos, we've crossed that line of whether or not casinos are going to be acceptable or not acceptable in our society, and they tend to be an extremely well lubricated economic engine that we should be able to capitalize, especially with the Chicago being a world-class city with all our conventions. Putting a casino near the convention centers would just make good economic sense.
All right, we're going to see how it plays out. My thanks, Alderman Ricardo Munoz of the 22nd Ward, Ameya Pawar of the 47th Ward. Gentlemen, thank you both for being with me. We'll see you both again, I'm sure.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us every Monday through Friday here on Politics Tonight.